Good morning and happy Friday, April the 10th. I hope that you're doing well. I'm healthy. My family's healthy. Interesting statistic yesterday I heard on the news is that 75% of us don't know anybody that has the coronavirus. Interesting. Today I want to, you might say, what does that have to do with anything? Maybe it'll tie in. But it's just interesting that we're afraid of something that we don't know anybody that has it. And that brings me kind of to the topic that I want to talk about today. I want to give some perspectives on hope, because this thing, this virus and all that's going on right now is creating a tremendous amount of fear and anxiety, and some might say is stealing our hope. So the question is, what is hope? And interestingly enough, very few of us, if we stopped and thought about it right now, would be able to define hope. Yet we know that we all need it, because we know also when we lose all hope, what typically happens. And it's sad to, here we're concerned about the thousands of people that are dying as a result of the coronavirus. And I absolutely don't want to minimize that this morning. But the reality is, in 2018, almost 50,000 people took their own lives. And I would guess that the majority of them was because they lost hope. So what is hope? Because we know we all need it. But how do we, through these times, hold on to hope even more? So let me give you a little bit of a working definition. I hope it suffices. There's books that have been written about hope. And so for me to try and suggest in a very short period of time, like a few minutes, that I'm going to try and do justice to hope, but maybe I can give you some perspective. So a working definition of hope, it really comes down to the old, where there's a will, there's a way. Will speaks to our sense of purpose, and way speaks to alternatives and options available to us. And when those two things work together, they give us hope. And so my hope for you this morning is that by understanding it a little bit better, you'll be able to think about where you're at right now in your overall sense of hope, and think, if I'm struggling and my hope is a little bit low, how can I go about trying to elevate my hope? And it really, when you break it down into these two categories and you say, where there's a will, there's a way, our sense of purpose. It's interesting, the brain requires three things in order to survive: oxygen, glucose, and connection. And unfortunately, during this virus and the quarantining and the isolating, the social distancing and everything, our connections are being shrunk. Our connections are being taken away. And as a result of that, in and of itself, it is stealing some of our hope. Further, this isolation is causing a tremendous amount of impact on business. And that is part of that way side of things, where our options and alternatives seem like they're also being taken away. And so being aware of that and saying, man, I've got to make sure that I am solid when it comes to how am I feeling? What is my sense of will? What is my sense of purpose? Why do I have this sense that things are going to be better? Because there's four elements that people with great hope have. And these are the common, let me stand back a little bit. Here's the common four of people that have a tremendous amount of hope. They believe that the future will be better than the past and the present. They believe that they have the power to make it so, and there are many paths to the goals that they want to achieve. And they understand that none of the paths that they want to achieve are without obstacles. You've often heard it said that hope is not a good strategy. Hope, when you define it, is not about wishful thinking. And I agree that wishful thinking is not a good strategy. However, when we think about it from the perspective of what is true hope, let me try and put it in these terms and use an analogy. If I hope for my survival that my income will come from winning the lottery, but I never buy a lottery ticket, that is false hope. I never have a chance of winning because I never participate and I don't buy the tickets. But then on the other side, even if I buy the tickets, the chance of winning is so small that if that is my strategy for survival, that's just wishful thinking. And that's not the kind of hope we're talking about this morning. The hope we're talking about is understanding that I matter as an individual and understanding that we're going to run into these obstacles, but we have each other and we have all kinds of ways that we can get through this. And that's why it's so important right now that when we're feeling low in hope, that we reach out to other people. And as leaders, knowing that your people are going to be struggling, even though they won't want to admit it, maybe struggling with a low level of hope during these times. And as leaders, it's up to us to fill their hope bucket by not only helping them understand their value and how they contribute to the overall good and especially of our organizations, but that as individuals, they are meaningful. And praise, as we've been talking about the last few days, is a big part of that. The other side of it is to provide alternatives, to talk about things that we can do, keeping busy and looking at ways that we can maybe take best advantage of these times where it feels like it might be easier just to sit still and not do anything. No, it's better. And that's why I talk about detours. Better to take a detour, stay busy, keep moving, look for more pathways, because that's part of the way. That is what helps us build hope. I hope that helps. and I hope that you have a great day. And I hope that you will consider this as you think about your own life and as you think of the life of your people. Today is a day to build hope, because we will get through this and we will come out stronger on the other side with the right perspective. Have a great Friday.